Today, we're talking about the best and worst places to donate your decluttered items. Knowing how to declutter your items is one thing, donating them is something else entirely. We'd be fibbing if we said we hadn't loaded our car up with decluttered goodies to donate just to drive around for weeks with them in our car before making it to a thrift shop. So today we're covering the best and worst places to donate your unwanted or decluttered items.
We've got our top 3 best as well as our 3 worst places to palm off your decluttered items to. Keep in mind these are from our experience and we're not at all judging if you donated to any of the places in our worst category. This is just our personal experience and yours might differ, but we hope this list and our reasoning behind it might spark a thought or perhaps even inspire you to think about what the best places might be for you to easily unload your decluttered goods. We build our list to our ultimate best place to donate to, so make sure you stick around to the end of the video. Let's dive in.
Number 1, we'll start with one of the best places to donate to, one that most people are most familiar with, a charity thrift store. These are great places to donate because it's quick and convenient. You can just drop everything off and someone, usually a volunteer, will sort through everything, price it up, and the charity will make a profit to put back into the cause they're all about supporting. Charity thrift stores are all over and most are easy to get to. If you've recently decluttered your home or are about to start, then you've probably got a thrift store already in mind you might donate to, and that's great. There's a lot out there and you can support specific causes you hold close to your heart, whether it's animal welfare, homelessness, or the environment. There's something out there for everyone. Supporting local charity thrift stores is wonderful and definitely makes it into our top 3 list of best places to donate to.
Next, we've got the first of our worst places to donate to. And funnily enough, it's actually a charity thrift store if they are shut and don't accept donations past a certain time, or if they're a thrift store that is clearly overwhelmed with too much stuff piled up. I used to go thrift store shopping all the time when I started university. It was my escape from deadlines and stress, and I spent a lot of time in thrift stores. Over time, I started noticing certain patterns and common issues that charity thrift stores were facing. One of the biggest issues by far was the sheer amount of dumped goods well-meaning individuals were dropping off after hours. I had no idea, or I guess I just hadn't even thought about how much stuff they were getting in daily, more than they could even handle, especially at peak times like during spring cleaning or after Christmas.
When things aren't dropped off during business hours, for many of these charity thrift stores, the volunteers are just swamped with too much stuff for the store to even house. And even if it's a bigger chain type op shop, they might not have an offsite location for their overstock. We were so sad to find out that this excess stuff, they simply can't fit it in their store. Most of it goes to the rubbish tip and they need to pay to bin it. At least it's how it is here in Australia and it's really disappointing. So yes, even though we definitely love donating to our local charity thrift stores, we always pay attention to the operational hours and know that if we donate outside of these times, they'll simply trash their excess donations they can't fit.
I still remember the horror of watching 2 staff smashing down a beautiful ornate Edwardian bookcase in their parking lot because they simply couldn't fit any more in their store and had already maxed out their weekly allowance for external dumping fees. When I asked why they were smashing it up, they said they needed more room in their bin, and this kind of thing happens every week. It can be so easy to be in a hurry and just drop off your unwanted goods to a thrift store without even noticing the operational hours, or to not take note just how piled up their donations piles are at the front or the back of their store. So if in doubt, try going during their day and make sure to ask if they'd like X number of bags donated, or if it's something big and bulky, ask if they have room for it. I've done this a few times and they've been very open and honest with me and said that they're already at capacity and it'd be better to try down the road at another thrift store because they capped out and already started trashing things, which is so disheartening to hear and definitely not something I even thought about thrift stores doing, but many do, so it's always good to check.
Again, thrift stores do make it into our top 3 best places to donate to, but they also make it into our top 3 worst too because of their lack of storage options, availability of staff, and practice of adding perfectly good things to landfill if they're at capacity. As you'll see if you keep watching, we have much better places to consider donating to if your local charity thrift store is closed or overwhelmed.
On to one of these better options to donate to, we have local pickup home services like the Red Nose Drive or similar. These are usually always charity operations too, but have dedicated staff or volunteers who actively come to your home and pick up your decluttered items. All you need to do is call and make a free booking for them to come to your home and pick everything up. These places are typically seeking out donations and have better logistics and processes to sort through unwanted goods. They won't be inundated with donations and throw everything excess that that day in the bin. Typically, they're better staffed and don't rely on just volunteers alone, so there's better funding, which ultimately means you're supporting a local charity, but without the risk of adding straight to landfill from overwhelming them with the unwanted goods if you can't manage to donate during their operational hours, or if they simply don't have the space. So if your local charity thrift store is always throwing stuff in rubbish bins because they're always inundated with stuff outside of their business hours, perhaps consider a local pickup charity home service. The majority of them actually have free collection, which is great if you're in a hurry because they'll come straight to you.
Next, coming in as one of our not so great places to donate to, and this might be a bit controversial, but it's friends and family. I know it seems weird to hear decluttering your stuff and passing it on to friends and family makes it to our not great list. But hear us out. We're not saying never pass your unwanted things onto friends or family if you want to, especially if you know someone you love will actually love the thing you no longer need. There's just some consideration to keep in mind when yeeting a heap of your unwanted stuff. It can actually be quite awkward and difficult to say no to someone you love if they're trying to palm something off to you because they no longer want it. With friends and family members in particular, there's this underlying obligation to not disappoint them by saying no to their generosity. And when it comes to stuff, like the stuff you no longer want, they might feel under pressure to just say yes.
It's hard to say no to generosity from friends and family, and never wanting to seem ungrateful or offend someone close to you that you might see regularly can lead you to simply feeling like there's no other option than to say yes to taking in stuff that you might not actually want. There's almost this obligation to just take the thing, and it can be awkward if they come over to your home sometime later and don't see it displayed somewhere. So we'd suggest, unless you have something very specific that you know for a fact your friend or family member will absolutely love, and from experience it's best to just skip it and donate elsewhere. So someone who is actively looking for the thing that you're getting rid of will be far happier and excited when they find it.
Again, you'll know what best suits you and your specific friend or family member and the specific item you might have in mind down the track. We've definitely passed on some of our decluttered things to friends and family members, but we do it sparingly and only when we're pretty sure they'll actually appreciate it. Another good tip here is to try and not put anyone on the spot and ask them in person when you have something in your hand, because it builds a sense of on the spotness and they might feel obliged. So if possible, try taking a photo and sending it to them if there's something you think they'll really like, so they have some time to sit with it for a bit and say no thanks in their own time without the pressure.
In a way, this is its own gift, giving them the freedom to really think about if they want to integrate this new old item into their home. Because if you, right now, think about some of the hardest items to declutter in your home, you might find, like us, the most difficult things to part with are actually these obligation type items from friends and family. There can commonly be this feeling of guilt to part ways with and donate something that was given to you from a loved one, as well-meaning as it was, even if you actually objectively dislike the item itself. For example, if it's big and bulky and takes up too much space in your home, or you don't love dusting it all the time, or you simply just don't love the way that it looks in your house. There can be so many reasons why we don't love certain items and don't want them cluttering up our home, despite how much we love the person who gifted it to us.
I think it's a pretty universal experience that we tend to hold on to stuff for the sake of it sometimes, because we love the person who gave it to us. Or maybe you're worried they'll guilt you if they don't see their thing in your home. But just know it's more than likely they've also had things like this in their own life that they just want to get rid of because it no longer serves them. And I'm sure in the majority of cases at least, they don't truly want to make you feel guilty or obliged to hold on to something you truly don't enjoy. So we'd suggest, as a general tip, decluttering your stuff and offloading it to friends and family isn't it. There's better places to donate your things to.
As we're talking about some of the worst places to declutter your unwanted items, we've got the one that no one wants to admit they've tossed their items to, and it's the rubbish bin. This takes the top spot of one of the worst places to declutter your unwanted items, for obvious reason, contributing to landfill prematurely, which pollutes our planet. Now, I will say there's a caveat that in fact sometimes in certain circumstances, tossing things in the bin, even if they are perfectly good, has its moments, and in times of great stress, domestic abuse, or grief, for example, sometimes it's just what you might find yourself needing to do, and that's okay. We're all just doing the best we can. Life can get overwhelming and difficult at times, and having excess clutter certainly doesn't help with that. So it's reasonable that sometimes, in certain cases, throwing things directly in the rubbish bin closest to you is needed. So be kind on yourself, and you'll know what is best for you for the moment that you're in.
There is also an argument commonly made in the minimalist field that that everything made is destined for landfill anyway. And we thought this was actually a really good video to address that commonly made argument. Our view on this is that it's far better for the environment that things don't get sent to landfill prematurely. If there's still life left in things, then we think it's always best to try and rehome them. If it means perfectly good things are sent to the rubbish tip prematurely, then it means someone else will buy them new, instead of seeing them in an op shop or on Facebook Marketplace, for example. It puts more pressure on our planet to keep the churn of new items on shelves, rather than breathing new life into old items by donating them to someone who genuinely wants them. The things you might view as a sad reminder of an ex-boyfriend or grief-filled items from a past loved one won't hold these feelings and memories to someone else. In fact, there's a lot of joy to be found out of their fresh start. So try donating where you can, and keep the rubbish bin as an absolute last resort.
The final place on our list of places to donate to is by far the best. Above all, in our opinion, to declutter your unwanted items to. And it's your local Buy Nothing project group. We've talked about the Buy Nothing project quite a few times here on our channel. But if you're new here or haven't heard of it before, it might just change your life. The Buy Nothing project is a global movement with groups literally all around the world. If you go to Facebook and type in your local suburb and Buy Nothing project, a Facebook group will pop up for your local area. From there, you can join and be part of your local Buy Nothing group. It's basically a group for just your local area, which is focused on creating a hyper-local gift-giving economy. Everything is free. Just pop up a picture of your unwanted item and people in your community will comment if they'd like the item.
The reverse is true too. If you have something in mind you'd really like but don't want to spend money buying something new, you can put up what is called a wish, which is basically where you ask if someone has the specific item you're looking for, which is great for one-off wonders like miter saws, for example. We live in South Australia and things are pretty sparsely populated, so when we moved I was skeptical if we'd even have a local group in our tiny area, but we do. And I'm so happy for it. We found this is our favorite way to offload our decluttered items. Someone is always keen for free items no longer wanted, and it's a wonderful way to meet new neighbors you've never met and connect with your local community.
Everyone I've ever met from our local Buy Nothing project group has been incredibly thankful for whatever thing we've donated. A while ago, a lady in our area put up a wish for a vacuum cleaner because her old one broke, and with pets and her dream job interview coming up, she desperately needed a vacuum cleaner, but didn't have the money for a new one. We had one just sitting in our garage collecting dust, and I was so excited to pull it out, dust it off, and give it to her. She was so incredibly grateful and gave us hugs and even cried happy tears because the kindness of our local Buy Nothing group had gotten her through the roughest period of her life over the past year, with a family member passing away and her losing her job. Her receiving things to rebuild her life, free things that people didn't even want or need or were just collecting dust, was the best thing, and even better than donating it to a thrift store which charges money for the free items they've received. Which again, thrift stores are great, but the Buy Nothing group is even better. It's been wonderful connecting with our local community in a supportive, exciting way and decluttering and simplifying our home in the process. We've made amazing connections with our neighbors we never would have met, and even received fun things like free plants, a free pasta machine, and even had the excitement of opening and contributing to a traveling suitcase.
The Buy Nothing project was started by two friends, Rebecca and Lizel, who saw a vision of a world for their kids where our planet is protected from overconsumption and people buy less and share more. We'll leave a link to the Buy Nothing project website down below if you want to check it out further. And apparently they also have an app for organizing local groups too. But in our experience, the Facebook groups, your local mini Facebook group, will be the best and most active place to declutter your items. It's also a wonderful place to mass declutter if you're really overwhelmed. I've seen quite a few posts recently in my local group of people feeling completely overwhelmed by the sheer amount of stuff they need to declutter. Whole houses full as loved ones have passed away, and they've simply taken a photo of the entire room and posted it on the Facebook group. It's been amazing to see the support of the community who want to help and also score a free thing or 10. As they come and take things away, the before and afters have been spectacular. So yes, the next time you're decluttering something, give a thought to your local Buy Nothing group. It's been by far the best and most enjoyable and fulfilling way to declutter and simplify our lives.
So there we go, our top 3 best and worst places to declutter your stuff to. Again, this is based on our own experience with the 6 places listed today, and everyone is different with different needs, values, and wants out of life. So do with this list what you will. We hope this list and our reasonings behind each sparked a thought of some places you can donate your things to easily, matching up with where you're at in your current stage of life.
If you're still watching at this point, then we're sending you a big thank you. Let us know in the comments below. Have you joined your local Buy Nothing group yet? And with that, we'll catch you all next time.
Bye. I'm drowning in my saliva. That'd be a bad way to go, wouldn't it?
It's very disgusting.
Ew. Hair fluff break.
Looks very pretty.
I look so buff in this dress. Look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. I look so buff.
Yeah.